David Connor, born and bred in Middlesbrough. I write for the Evening Gazette on the Remember When page and also the Remember When magazine. Been involved with, I do Sport and Chance where I do reminiscent for them because a lot of people who come to that have dementia, Alzheimer's, some of them. So we try to get them to remember how Middlesbrough was, and then as soon as you start talking about it, in a lot of cases the memory suddenly comes back, which is really great. Because the town itself, unfortunately, the different people who've been in the councils and so forth, they've knocked so much of old Middlesbrough down, it's unbelievable. And there's very little left of the old Middlesbrough. And Cannon Street being one of the places which was a focal point. You could go, I've worked all around the world, and one of the first places anybody ever mentioned, oh, Cannon Street, are you from Cannon Street? It was a really good community. You know, I have friends. When Cannon Street started to be knocked down and they were moving people out, they moved to Pallister Park, Berwick Hills, various places. And what happened with these people, they'd never had a garden. All they knew was everything was close-knit. You know, you could leave your doors open at New Year. For all that there was robberies and so forth, you never actually saw anything like that in Cannon Street, because if anyone found out who'd done it, it just wasn't worth it. They'd get a good hiding. But to come along like they did, it was another one of these areas of Middlesbrough where they just says, right, we're going to go in and do it. Now, the plans that were actually made for how the area was going to be after they knocked it down, nobody even knows where those plans are. The last Remember When magazine, it shows you the plans. Now, if you go down Cannon Street area now, you won't see any of how that was supposed to be. And like I say, my friends from over the years, we've still been friends now. I'm 70 coming up, and we've been friends for over 50 years from when Cannon Street started to come down. Like I say, the community was such that all of the people who actually lived there, if you take St. Pat's School as an example, there's a photograph of the boxing team. There's 12 laddies on it. All those 12 laddies are still friends. The football team has 18 laddies on. All the 18 laddies are still friends. And you think, well, blinking heck, that was 60 years ago. So it was still there. The feeling for the area is still there. I know when we went to the Teesside University last year, I think it was last year, Scarlet, and they did some interviews and on camera. And it was brilliant because they went to this old gentleman and he looked up at the sky. He says, there's some smoke. Do you know they're knocking our street down because of the smoke and the contamination? Isn't there any of that at Acklam? Don't they have smoke at Acklam? Now, I thought it was absolutely brilliant. So it seems as though they just says, there's Cannon Street, right, we're knocking it down. And I walk along there now, all that you've got left is St. Columba, the church, and the two gas tanks. Now, I've got the street plan and everything, and there was only one gas tank shown on it. Now there's two. So somewhere along the line, I don't know what year they actually did the other one, but everything was there. When I wrote my article about Cannon Street, you had 60 businesses. You could have bought anything. Now you have to go out of town to all of these blinking supermarkets and all these massive shopping centres, and then you go in a car and then it takes you an hour to get out. Whereas there you could have just walked along the street without any problem. And you could have got anything that you wanted. And it was just so sad that Cannon Street was part of the heart of Middlesbrough. You used to have over the border, and then Cannon Street was just this side of the railway lines. Because where St Columba is now, the church, if you go underneath the railway lines, you're in St Hilda's over the border. So that's how close they actually were to each other. The pubs, I think there was 4 within 200 yards of each other. Not 200 yards of each other, 4 within 200 yards. And there was only one pub, the Royal, that had the licensee had his address on 2 streets, and it's the only one. It's been a talk for many years, which is the only pub what's got 2 addresses, and that was the one. It had a gym upstairs, you know, but you could go, have a good drink, have a good time, your bands were playing, but it's just the old scenario which is associated with Cannon Street, where everybody has fond memories of it. You know, it doesn't matter who you speak to. There was never any of, oh, well, this was happening, that was happening. And also, you had all, when people talk about Cannon Street, if they lived in one of the side streets, they still lived on Cannon Street. You know, and it's very strange that, because in essence, there was very few people actually lived on Cannon Street. If you take the 1958 census, there were mainly shops and businesses. So to actually live on Cannon Street was a little bit different. And like I say, you take all your side streets, and they were classed as Cannon Street, you know, because you talk to somebody and, oh, where are you from? Cannon Street. Oh, but I was born in Marsh Road. Or I was born in Gladstone Street. You had your boxing competitions at school. Cannon Street had possibly the best boxers. Cannon Street had possibly your best football teams. And quite a few of the lads who went to St Pat's, they went on to be professionals in different sports. You know, quite a few of them actually became professional boxers. But Cannon Street itself, for the length of the street, merriment, everybody, the people who've been here today with all the photos, all the memories, you just got to listen to them talk. They're all in the 70s, 80s, and yet they're as sharp as anything with the memories. So to have the memories like that, the place must have been good, a really good community. And that's what I will always say about it, that it was part of the art of Middlesbrough. That community was part of the art of Middlesbrough. And it will be. It'll always be remembered.